What happens when an entire year does not push you into the center of the stage, but pulls you into the corridors behind the stage? That is where we meet the second Tajika Yoga, Induvara Yoga. And if you are learning Varshaphala, yearly forecasting, or the Tajika system seriously, listen carefully. Not every important year looks loud from the outside. Some years do not announce themselves through promotion, marriage, property purchase, fame, or public achievement. Some years work quietly. They prepare you, they scatter you, they send you into service, healing, travel, study, documentation, retreat, repair, and behind-the-scenes effort. That is the essence of Induvara Yoga. In classical Tajika logic, Induvara Yoga forms when all planets are placed in apoklima houses, the cadent houses. These are the 3rd, 6th, 9th, and 12th houses. The practical meaning is simple but deep. The planets are not sitting in the most visible houses of immediate worldly consolidation. They are not shouting from the 1st, 4th, 7th, or 10th. They are operating through movement, preparation, effort, distance, service, learning, and release. The rulebook describes this as cadent diffusion, where energy becomes dispersed into preparation, service, recovery, study, travel, retreat, paperwork, distance, or background effort. Beginner's mistake of calling this automatically bad. Induvara is not failure. Induvara is diffusion. The year may be busy, but the native may not feel established. The person may be doing a lot, but not receiving obvious recognition. The work may be real, but the result may not yet be visible. The effort may be sincere, but the world may not immediately applaud it. This is the yoga of the person who says, I am doing so much, but where is the result? I am working, learning, serving, adjusting, healing, moving, but why do I still feel unsettled? That feeling is Induvara. In Varshaphala, the annual chart is not merely a static horoscope. It is the climate of one solar year. It tells us what kind of karmic weather the person is walking through from birthday to birthday. Tajika Yogas give us the grammar of that weather. They tell us whether events are coming together, separating, being blocked, being carried by the moon, being rescued by another planet, or being weakened by lack of strength. Induvara tells us something very specific. The year does not concentrate easily. The person may not get one clean central storyline. Instead, life becomes spread across multiple duties, errands, obligations, communications, illnesses, deadlines, documents, travel plans, spiritual questions, and invisible emotional processing. Now let us understand the houses. The 3rd house is effort, courage, communication, writing, siblings, short travel, skills, media, hands, messaging, and self-initiative. When planets gather here under an Induvara pattern, the year may bring constant movement. Emails, calls, content creation, sales attempts, learning technical skills, short journeys, negotiations. The person may not feel settled because life is pushing them to develop courage through repeated effort. The 6th house is service, illness, enemies, debts, routines, employees, litigation, corrections, and problem solving. When Induvara activates the 6th strongly, the year may feel like repair work, health routines, diet corrections, legal pressure, workplace issues, competitive exams, service burdens. The person may be forced to clean up what was ignored. But again, this is not useless. The 6th house teaches competence through friction. The 9th house is higher learning, dharma, teachers, fatherly figures, law, pilgrimage, publishing, long-distance travel, and blessings. Here, Induvara can become more elevated. The dispersion becomes meaningful. Instead of merely feeling scattered, the person may be drawn into study, sacred travel, philosophical inquiry, legal processes, teaching, writing, or mentorship. The rulebook especially notes that if the 9th participates, the same cadent pattern can become higher learning, pilgrimage, legal process, teaching, or long-distance growth. The 12th house Ayin lands, hospitals, isolation, spiritual surrender, expenses, hidden work, research, endings, and liberation. When Induvara touches the 12th strongly, the year may involve withdrawal, foreign connection, spiritual practice, expenditure, hospital visits, private grief, or deep subconscious release. So when we read Induvara, we must ask, what kind of diffusion is this? Is it the diffusion of learning, the diffusion of service, the diffusion of travel, the diffusion of healing, the diffusion of paperwork, the diffusion of spiritual surrender? This is why no Tajika Yoga should be read in isolation. We always ask, who wants what? What is the matter? What is the Lagnesha? What is the Karyesha? Which house topic is being activated? Is the moon helping? Are the planets strong? Are Mars or Saturn obstructing? Is there support from benefics? Now let us bring the planets into this. Ipede strongly in Induvara, authority becomes dispersed. The person may deal with government offices, bosses, senior people, father-related duties, management pressure, or questions of dignity and recognition. The sun represents authority, leadership, government, management, power, position, father, discipline, fame, and the fire element. In Induvara, the sun may not easily give public glory. Instead, and into administrative corridors, forms, approvals, documents, compliance, senior instructions. A professional may work hard under a boss but not yet receive the title. A student may prepare for an exam under pressure. A person may handle father's health, government papers, taxes, official identity documents, or institutional responsibility. If the moon is involved, the diffusion becomes emotional. The moon signifies mind, emotions, mother, masses, food, water, home, property, psychology, counseling, travel, and local community. In Induvara, the person may absorb too much from their surroundings. They may feel because the annual chart does not allow one stable emotional anchor. If the moon connects to the 12th, sleep, dreams, retreat, hospital concerns, or emotional withdrawal may arise. If it connects to the 3rd, there may be restless communication. If it connects to the 6th, health anxiety or caregiving routines may dominate. If it connects to the 9th, the mind seeks meaning, pilgrimage, mantra, teaching, or counsel. If Mars is part of Induvara, scattered effort becomes urgent. Mars is action, courage, competition, land, sharp objects, surgery, police, emergency, vehicles, logic, focus, muscles, blood, and fire. In the 3rd, Mars can make the year highly active, writing, campaigning, physical effort, sports, sales, IP. In the 6th, Mars may be powerful for defeating enemies, handling surgery, resolving conflicts, or pushing through work. But if afflicted, the same Mars may bring injuries, arguments, impatience, legal fights, or workplace aggression. Induvara with Mars does not always deny results. It often says the result comes through effort, friction, and correction. If Mercury is central, the year becomes intellectual and transactional. Mercury signifies rational mind, speech, intelligence, writing, paperwork, education, trade, books, information, new ideas, software, data, and communication. This can be a year of documents, learning, contracts, applications, messages, counseling, media, teaching, editing, sales, certification. But again, because this is Induvara, the person may feel mentally scattered. Too many tabs open, too many conversations, too many half-finished drafts, too many documents waiting for approval. The lesson is to convert mental movement into disciplined learning. If Jupiter participates, the year may disperse into wisdom, education, law, children, counsel, institutions, religion, policy, banking, and higher learning. Jupiter represents higher education, knowledge, children, legal and judicial matters, institutions, academia, regulatory bodies, rules, religion, faith, law, and expansion. In Induvara, Jupiter can soften the yoga, especially through the 9th. The person may travel for learning, enter a course, meet a mentor, handle a, teach, or develop a more philosophical worldview. But if Jupiter is weak, there may be overconfidence, unfinished education, delayed legal matters, or advice that does not yet translate into practical success. If Venus is involved, the diffusion touches relationship, pleasure, vehicles, finance, beauty, comfort, art, medicine, business, family, wealth, and self-worth. Venus signifies spouse, intimate relationships, desire, refinement, luxury, creativity, clothes, vehicles, finance, medicines, business, family, and internal value. In Induvara, Venus may show a relationship that is not yet settled. Long-distance attraction, private love, expenses on comfort or beauty, creative study, healing through work, financial adjustment. In the 12th, Venus may show foreign pleasure, hidden relationship, bedroom life, luxury spending, or spiritualized love. In the 6th, it can show relationship imbalances, health routines, or financial corrections. If Saturn dominates Induvara, the diffusion becomes heavy, slow, and duty-bound. Saturn represents work, time, discipline, responsibility, delay, service industry, oil, minerals, machinery, construction, status, slowness, and karmic responsibility. This can become a year of service, labor, compliance, debt management, chronic health attention, elderly people, institutional paperwork, maintenance, or delayed results. The person may feel unglamorous work no one sees. But Saturn in Induvara can be extremely useful when the year demands endurance. It builds the foundation invisibly before life allows public recognition. Now let us connect this with signs. If Induvara operates through Aries, the diffusion becomes restless action. Aries is raw life force, initiation, speed, challenge, and warrior energy. The person may start many things but struggle to sustain them. The year demands direction. Without direction, anger rises. Through Taurus, Induvara disperses energy into finance, food, family, comfort. Taurus is preservation, wealth, love, food, art, and material stability. The person may work quietly to stabilize money, voice, diet, family values, or possessions. Through Gemini, it becomes communication overload. Gemini is language, writing, intellect, siblings, humor, curiosity, trade, and can be excellent for podcasting, marketing, writing, courses, and networking, but dangerous for scattered attention. Through Cancer, the year disperses into emotion, family, home, mother, property, vehicles, and inner security. Cancer govern their home, vehicles, and property. The person may move between family duties, property concerns, emotional healing, and caregiving. Through Leo, Induvara touches recognition, authority, education, romance, creativity, and self-expression. Leo governs authority, fame, fatherhood, education, romance, moral judgment. The person may prepare for visibility, but not yet fully receive it. This is rehearsal before radiance. Through Virgo, this yoga becomes highly practical. Virgo governs daily routines, health, service, subordinates, opposition, and detailed work. This can be a year of correction, healing apprenticeship, and fixing systems. Through Libra, it disperses into partnership, diplomacy, marriage, image, agreements, and balance. Libra governs partnerships, marriage, diplomacy, external image, and decision-making. The person may miss or prepare for relationship decisions. Through Scorpio, the diffusion becomes psychological, hidden, intense, and transformative. Scorpio governs hidden emotions, inheritance, research, occult knowledge, sexuality, loyalty, and deep commitments. This can show therapy, research, seeker inheritance paperwork, or deep inner work. Through Sagittarius, Induvara often becomes meaningful. Sagittarius governs long-distance travel, education, philosophy, religion, law, policies, institutions, and spiritual evolution. The year may not be materially fixed, but it can expand the PO Capricorn. The year becomes duty, work, pressure, status, timelines, compliance, construction, and institutional responsibility. Capricorn is responsibility, endurance, structure, labor, public accountability, and long-term legacy. The person may feel burdened, but this is where is future authority. Through Aquarius, the diffusion moves into networks, income, innovation, technology, gains, social systems, and reform. Aquarius governs gains, networks, income, innovation, technology, collective goals, and social structures. This is excellent for digital work, AI, social media strategy, reform-wide building, but emotionally detached. Through Pisces, Induvara becomes spiritual, foreign, imaginative, compassionate, and dissolving. Pisces governs sleep, dreams, imagination, subconscious mind, isolated places, faith, spiritual institutions, foreign lands, and surrender. The person may feel less in control, but more healing and release. Now let us make this practical. Suppose a person asks about career in a Varshaphala chart and Induvara is dominant. Do not immediately promise promotion. Instead, say, this year may require preparation, certification, skill building, background effort, service, documentation, or working under someone else before the visible breakthrough comes. Involved but placed in a cadent house, the career matter is active but not fully settled. The person may be working backstage. Example, a software engineer spends the year learning cloud automation, AI tools, documentation, and internal process improvement. No one outside sees the growth. But the next year, that hidden preparation becomes promotion material. Suppose the matter is relationship. Induvara may show distance, counseling, communication, uncertainty, private adjustment, or relationship work that is not yet formalized. If Venus and the 7th Lord are involved through the 12th, there may be long-distance love, private intimacy, hidden attachment, or emotional withdrawal. If the 6th is involved, the relationship may require repair, humility, service, or conflict resolution. If the 9th is involved, the relationship may be shaped by culture, belief, marriage rituals, law, family blessings, or long-distance travel. Suppose the matter is health. Induvara can become very important. The 6th and 12th are cadent houses. The year may involve diagnosis, treatment, recovery, hospitals, diet correction, physiotherapy, sleep repair, mental health work, or chronic condition management. This is not necessarily a year of collapse. It can be a year of correcting the foundation. Suppose the matter is property. Induvara may not show immediate possession unless supported by stronger yogas. It may show paperwork, loans, legal documents, renovation, travel to inspect land, family discussion, government approvals, or delay before actual ownership. If Saturn or Mars is involved, land, construction, machinery, disputes, or repairs may arise. Suppose the matter is spiritual growth. Induvara can be beautiful. The 9th and 12th can take the person into pilgrimage, meditation, retreat, prayer, mantraling, dream work, foreign travel, or study of scripture. The world may call it a quiet year. The soul may call it a necessary year. This is why Induvara must be spoken with maturity. A loud year is not always a successful year. A quiet year is not always a wasted year. Some years build the bones of destiny. Some years cleanse the nervous system. Some years teach the mind to serve before it leads. Some years make you invisible so that your foundation becomes stronger than your image. That is Induvara. But let us also be honest. The challenge of this yoga is lack of consolidation. The person may start too many things. They may travel too much. They may work hard but feel unseen. They may be pulled into other people's problems. They may lose focus. They may feel emotionally or professionally between worlds. So the practical advice is this. During an Induvara year, do not measure success only by public outcome. Measure it by preparation completed. Measure it by skills gained. Measure it by debts reduced. Measure it by health repaired. Measure it by documents completed. Measure it by emotional maturity gained. Measure it by the quality of teachers, helpers, doctors, mentors, or systems you encounter. Measure it by what you quietly become. In annual forecasting, this is extremely useful. When I see Induvara strongly operating in a Varshaphala chart, I do not tell the person, nothing will happen. That is lazy astrology. I tell them, this year is not empty. This year is distributed. Your energy is going into several channels. We must identify which channel matters most: career, health, relationship, travel, education, service, spiritual growth, or recovery, and then judge whether the planets involved are strong enough to give useful results. That is how Tajika becomes precise. Not prediction for entertainment, prediction as strategy. If Induvara affects the 3rd, build skills. If it affects the 6th, fix routines. If it affects the 9th, study, travel, teach, publish, seek counsel. If it affects the 12th, rest, retreat, heal, complete, release, or prepare for foreign connection. If benefics support it, the year becomes constructive preparation. If malefics afflict it, the same diffusion can become stress, exhaustion, conflict, or delay. If the moon is strong, the person can emotionally process the year. If the moon is weak, they may feel lost even while doing the right things. If Jupiter supports, the year gives guidance. If Mercury supports, the year gives learning and documents. If Saturn supports, the year gives discipline. If Mars supports, the year gives courage and action. If Venus supports, the year gives creative repair, relationship diplomacy, or financial refinement. And if the Sun supports, the year may still bring recognition, but often after paperwork, obedience to authority, or disciplined preparation. So when you hear Induvara, do not think bad yoga. Think a year of dispersed karma. A year where the native may be walking through airports, hospitals, libraries, back offices, counseling rooms, training programs, court corridors, temples, classrooms, or private emotional spaces. A year where life says, do the invisible work. Because sometimes the future does not begin on the stage. Sometimes it begins in the preparation room. And that is why a proper yearly forecast reading matters. Because if you misread an Induvara year, you may chase applause when life is asking for preparation. You may panic over delay when the chart is asking for skill. You may call yourself stuck when the year is actually moving you through healing, service, travel, study, and karmic correction. In my yearly forecast readings, I do not only look for whether something is good or bad. I look for the mechanism. Is the promise direct? Is it delayed? Is it obstructed? Is it carried by the moon? Is it rescued by a stronger planet? Is the year visible or is it preparatory? Is the chart asking you to act, wait, heal, study, negotiate, travel, or surrender? That is the real value of Varshaphala. It tells you the weather of your year before you step into the storm. And when Induvara appears, the message is clear. Do not waste the year trying to force one dramatic outcome. Gather yourself, prepare, serve, study, heal. Travel wisely, complete the paperwork, strengthen your body, clean your routines, listen to teachers, respect the unseen process. Because the quiet year may be the year that secretly makes the next visible success possible.